let's shift gears a little bit and talk about how you have got your team gelling. I mean, to make that shift, that dramatic shift from, talking about how many games they've won in the NCAAs, maybe the most since the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing something to communicate your message, your philosophy. Can you talk a little bit about the different styles of communication that
Sure,
you
yeah.
use? And here's why I asked the question. One of the things we know in sports psychology is that each athlete and every personality has a different style of communication, different channels that they prefer to use. And one person might really like to use logic and facts and are a little bit better about going after the data and saying, here, X, Y, and Z, and here's the reason why. And they respond to that. And so you can give that kind of stuff out. And you know all this, being having a degree in sports psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Other types of athletes really like to have sort of this emotional channel being communicated to. You're a great guy. You're doing some good things. I like you.
You're talking to me?
I'm talking
Oh, okay.
to the athlete, but they like that. I mean, they respond more to you caring about them.
Everyone likes to feel wanted, respected, and have affirmations expressed.
Right.
No matter who you are.
No, and you're absolutely right. But what we're finding with the work that we're doing in terms of the teams and athletes that we're working with is that there are subtle differences in terms of what charges up, what are psychological motivators for people. And some people really respond, everybody responds well to positive feedback. But the charge that gets to the heart or gets to the passion varies based on their personality style. And some people prefer data and logic, time commitments. They want to be in a much more structured environment. Others like to be in a more flexible environment, like to be spoken to on a level that is more emotional. Others like to be directed and pointed out and say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. I need you to get going, and I need it by this time. Others need to be joked with. Hey, we're going to tease a little bit, and that's how and boom, they spark up. If you know your athletes and each style that they are, you can get more out of them by hitting those battery charges, by speaking to their language. How is, as a coach, with your background in sports psychology, how are you doing some of those things?
Well, I believe everything
Have you seen some of those? Yeah.
And that's one of the major challenges of being a coach, being a great coach, being an effective coach. And those are things I'm always trying to hit on every single day. Every single day in practice, I like to say we coach the individual first and then the player.
So you
I want to be able to coach the mental side of it and the personality side of it and the character side of it, so that I know then how to communicate, how to set a screen, how to run a particular play, how to present a scouting report, how to break down video.
That's awesome. So you'll adjust some of your style to those athletes.
Well, even before that, I'm trying to figure out what works best. Like you said, where's the charge?
Yeah. How do I get to that charge, and how do I find that?
And
how do you do
that's
that?
what coaching is.
How do you do that as a coach, though? I mean, what are some of the techniques or the tools that you use to understand the different personality types and the different brain chemistries that these athletes are coming with?
I mean, we're not using a specific tool, but yeah, learning how to communicate and which channel to take and which day. I mean, it might be different for a person depending on is he fatigued this week from a lot of work. Where is he at right now? Did he just break up with his girlfriend? Has he been playing video games all night so he can't even focus? Things of that nature. I constantly have check-ins with our players to see where they're at, mentally.
Yeah.
What mental state are they at? And then from there, you have to figure out the best way to communicate, whether it's verbally, non-verbally, whether it's through writing, whatever it might be. Or maybe I'm not the best one to communicate at that point. Maybe I need an assistant coach or a captain
Oh, that's
to go talk
fantastic.
to somebody. So it's awareness first. That's the number one tool, I would say, for me, is just the awareness of it all. And a great friend once proposed to me with communication. Sometimes you choose it, and other times you force it. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to force it, because communication during a game is much different than communication during a practice. I'm a teacher during practice. You can slow it down. It's my classroom. The doors are closed. There are no fans there. There aren't as many distractions. And you can redo and review. You can slow it down, and you can talk individually with quiet. During a game, it's not like that. It's intense. It's emotional. You have other people dictating what you're doing. You have 5 other players on the court, and you have 3 officials that you can't control. A lot more uncontrollables during a game, and not a lot of time to talk. So then you're forced to communicate, maybe through raising your voice, or having to deal with your own emotions and the intensity level of the game. And so I would much rather have practice
Have that time.
instead of have games.